Remember the big question we're asking, can the UPA government shirk responsibility? Paranjoy Gua Thakurta, senior journalist who's tracked this case relentlessly, is with us. V. Narayan Swamy, MOS in the PMO, Mahesh Jetmalani of the BJP and lawyer, also with us, and Rajeev Chandrasekhar, MP, Rajya Sabha. Mr. Narayan Swamy, you've heard Arun Shourie, you will hear other voices from your critics. They are calling for the resignation, or if not even calling for the resignation, certainly saying the Prime Minister and the then Finance Minister have been given no clean chit. In fact, their embarrassment is greater as a result of some of the comments and observations made by the Supreme Court.
It is quite unfortunate.
Yes.
Arun Shourie ji, who has been a minister in the telecom department,
yes,
and who was a party to the decision of the NDA government in allotting the spectrum,
yes,
on first come, first served, now talking about it.
But sir, Mr. Raja misused it. Mr. Raja misused the policy for personal gain, and the Prime Minister and then Finance Minister failed to check Mr. Raja, perhaps because of coalition pressure. Because he was an important DMK minister. That's the truth.
Raja misuse it or not is before the criminal court.
Yes.
About what they said, the Supreme Court said, the policy itself is unconstitutional, illegal, and arbitrary.
Yes.
Who brought this policy? In 2001, BJP, the NDA government brought that policy.
Right.
In October 2003, NDA cabinet approved that policy. The policy decision that has been taken on spectrum allocation by NDA government has been given by the verdict of the Supreme Court as unconstitutional, illegal, and arbitrary.
So who
is to be blamed for it? NDA has to be blamed for it.
Mahesh Jetmalani
not the UPA government, not Prime Minister, not then Finance Minister.
Mahesh Jetmalani respond. The Congress's argument now is that the fault lay in the policy. And even if the implementation of the policy was flawed in the UPA, that is Mr. Raja's responsibility, not the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister.
Well, it's an argument of last resort. I can see that the desperate Congress party now, completely cornered, will resort to this absurd argument. But you've got all the answers, partly given by Mr. Shourie, who just spoke, and partly also in the judgment itself. Rajeev, as far as the NDA policy is concerned, Mr. Shourie told you, for instance, that, listen, there was no obligation on them to continue that policy. What policy may be valid for a particular era, given the circumstances prevailing for that particular sector, doesn't necessarily prevail 10 years later. That's point number one, and that Mr. Shourie has made clear. Point number two is that the Supreme Court has examined, in this judgment, it went back. It took a historical exegesis of the entire telecom policy. It examined the NDA policy. It didn't say anything was wrong with it. On the contrary, it said that the implementation of the policy by the UPA government was contrary to the cabinet decision.
Kindly don't mislead. They said the policy of NDA government, that is first come first served, was illegal, unconstitutional, and arbitrary. The Supreme Court said that. Kindly don't twist it.
Okay, hold on. The fact at the end of the day, Mr. Narayan Swamy, and the central fact, Mahesh, hold on. Rajeev Chandrasekhar, because you've been writing to the Prime Minister, you've been raising this in public fora. Do you believe today that you feel vindicated that it's the implementation of the policy by Mr. A. Raja when he was a UPA telecom minister which is under scrutiny, or is it the policy per se followed over the last 10 years which is under scrutiny?
No, Rajeev, we have to be very clear here. The petition in front of the Supreme Court, for which the Supreme Court has opined, is not about implementation of a policy. It was about the illegalities committed by the Department of Telecommunication and licenses issued as a consequence of that illegality.
Right.
There's no sugarcoating here. This is about finding of illegality and violations of law.
Right.
There were 6 instances of violations of law, and the licenses that were issued as a consequences of the violations of law were found to be illegal and therefore cancelled.
Right.
This is not, the Supreme Court did not get into a large discussion about moral probity and corruption and all of that. It basically said there were violations of law, the licenses, these licenses were issued in contravention to law, and therefore these licenses have to be cancelled.
Mr. Narayan Swamy, Mr. Narayan Swamy, you have to answer. CNN IBN has asked this question. 122 licenses cancelled are only the licenses issued by the UPA. The licenses issued by the NDA are not cancelled. It's the UPA licenses issued when Mr. Raja was the telecom minister that have been cancelled today. That suggests that prima facie, that's where the illegality was.
Rajeev, I went through the judgment. In the judgment, you find that Mr. Salve, the senior counsel, asked that, told the Supreme Court that the licenses issued from 2001 by the NDA government, and also the subsequent thereafter, up to Raja's time, now you are doing it for Raja's kept. The Supreme Court made an observation. If you go through the judgment, it is very clear.
So the license...
the petition against those licenses given during NDA regime is not before us. Therefore, the Supreme Court made that observation. And now Rajeev Chandrasekhar, our honorable member of parliament, telling that they questioned only about the manner of issuing licenses. But Arun Shourie has admitted that the policy itself was illegal, arbitrary, unconstitutional.
No, he has not admitted that. You are saying the Supreme Court. That's your interpretation of the Supreme Court order, sir. But Mr. Narayan Swamy, there's a bigger question, and I'll start with Paranjoy on this. The fact is, at the end of the day, the effort being made by the government to suggest is that this was Mr. A. Raja's wrongdoing. Mr. A. Raja overruled the finance ministry or refused to accept what the finance ministry's advice was. Therefore, the finance ministry has not been indicted today. It's Mr. A. Raja who's been indicted. Why is the blame again coming to Mr. Chidambaram or the Prime Minister when it's Mr. A. Raja whom the Supreme Court is holding responsible today for the illegalities?
It is convenient for the government to interpret the Supreme Court's judgment in this manner. When you tell your child, don't lie, why do you say that? Because in order to cover up one lie, you have to utter 10 more lies. Essentially what has happened. And then let me here talk about the media.
Yes.
And let me name names. Shalini Singh of the Times of India wrote 15 articles before the scam happened. Sunil Jain, working in Indian Express Business Standard, wrote an equal number of articles. I have written articles in the Economic Times. Everybody and his brother knew the scam was happening even before the scam happened and after the scam happened. Now wait, are you saying that Mr. Chidambaram's own officials say that this is not the way you should do, but Mr. Chidambaram is helpless? Are you trying to say that the PMO knew what was going on, but the PM is helpless? Now, this is reflecting extremely poorly on the credibility of the government. Forget this business about collective responsibility and so on and so on. Everybody and his brother knew what was going on.
Just the way decisions were taken. And just the way
you knew what was happening.
You knew what was happening. Mr. Narayan Swamy, it's a sin of omission. Even if it's not a sin of commission, it's a sin of omission. If a minister is committing an act of illegality which you are aware of, surely it's your responsibility to stop him from doing so.
No. I like to correct it. A policy decision that has been taken by the government, which has been continuing, implementation is left with the minister. And the minister commits wrong, or there is the kind of corruption involved, the minister is responsible, not the whole cabinet. Then the policy is wrong, the cabinet is responsible. The collective responsibility doesn't come when a person who has been given the responsibility, as a minister, if I am a minister, when I am implementing the policy, when I commit fraud, when I commit mistake, when I am involved in corruption, I am responsible for it, not the whole cabinet. Because they are interpreting in such a way, because now I would like to make it very clear.
Yes.
I would like to make it very clear that the kind of argument that has been coming, the Prime Minister is responsible and Chidambaram, I would like to say, the Prime Minister told that you will have to ensure that should be transparency.
And if it was not done, are you saying the Prime Minister could not have sacked Mr. Raja? Are you saying the Prime Minister could not have sacked Mr. Raja?
Kindly hear me. You asked the question. Kindly hear me.
Yes.
Because the Prime Minister told him that you should be transparent while allotting the spectrum. That is direction Prime Minister has given.
Yes.
If the minister, if it is wrong on the part of the minister should be held responsible.
Yes.
As far as Chidambaram is concerned, today what Supreme Court is telling that the policy of first come first serve was illegal, arbitrary, and unconstitutional. Chidambaram tried as a finance minister to mop up resources. He wanted action to be there.
Paranjoy,
Mr. Minister, like you, I have read through all 85 pages of this judgment.
Yes.
And